Two warriors are running through the jungle. They are being chased by an alien Chitauri. One of the warriors falls, and the alien drags him into the thicket. At this time, in the capital of Wakanda, residents welcome the return of Prince T'Challa to his homeland. The holiday is interrupted by a warrior who appears. He warns everyone about the aliens. One of the aliens shoots at the warrior and kills him. The king goes to his chambers to prepare for battle. T'Challa begs his father not to go into the jungle because he has not recovered from his wounds. T'Challa puts on a Black Panther costume and goes into battle. In the jungle, a Black Panther kills several aliens, but General Kleiser, who appeared, pierces him with a blade. T'Challa sees it. Kleiser threatens to kill the prince. T'Challa turns into a panther and rushes at the general. He falls off a cliff and drags Kleiser with him. Together they fall to the rocks. T'Challa dies, and General Kleiser gets up, no matter how nothing happened. The body of the king is brought to Wakanda. The people mourn for their leader. The king is buried in the tomb. The assistant escorts T'Challa to a secret cave. Only the kings of Wakanda have access there. T'Challa goes inside and sees a Black Panther costume, a lot of computers and devices. On one of the tables he sees a note about Captain America. General Kleiser is also mentioned in the note. Captain America at this time is fighting with the bandits who kidnapped the scientists. Cap fights with them and knocks them out one by one. Steve gets hit by several bullets, but he does not pay attention to the wounds. The bandits try to escape in a van, but the captain throws a shield, incapacitates the car. The van crashes into an acid tank. The caustic liquid douses the car and melts it. The Black Widow appears. Accompanied by SHIELD agents, Natasha says that Steve should not have risked being wounded again. The captain replies that he does not care even if he is killed. He's leaving by helicopter. Steve comes out of his room. The Black Widow and Nick Fury are already waiting for him there. Fury says that Steve needs rest, otherwise he will really die on one of the tasks. The captain replies that he is a soldier and he does not need to rest. He was created for war and he does not know how to do anything else. Fury threatens to lock Steve up next to Bruce Banner. Bruce is sitting in a cell with glass walls. A recording of his fight with the Avengers is being played on the TV right in front of him. Bruce is asked at what point he lost control of the Hulk. Why did he release the monster at all? Bruce replies that it was necessary because aliens attacked the Earth and only with the help of the Hulk they managed to win. Dr. Euler does not like such answers. Bruce demands that he be allowed to talk to Betty Ross, but Euler orders to give Banner a sedative and continue to show him the recording with the Hulk. Steve Rogers is sleeping in his room. He is tormented by nightmares about past days. He opens his eyes and sees a Black Panther next to him. The captain throws the stranger into the wall and then throws him out of the window. The captain himself also jumps out. The panther falls to the ground. Steve lands next to him and grabs the panther. They are surrounded by SHIELD agents. Agents are recalled by Nick Fury. He greets the Black Panther. T'Challa takes off his mask and says that his father was killed 4 days ago, and General Kleiser killed him. T'Challa asks Steve how to kill Kleiser. Cap replies that he killed the general twice, but he still returned. Fury says that Chael should be led into Wakanda Avengers, but Panther rejects this offer. Disappointed, T'Challa leaves. Fury decides to gather the Avengers. Hank Pym is trying to overcome the height limit of 18 meters in his laboratory. His wife Janet asks Hank not to risk his life for the sake of these experiments. Hank's vital signs become dangerous and Janet orders the laboratory assistant to reduce Hank. She asks her husband to proceed to the next phase of experiments, but Pym does not want to experience a decrease. Angry, he goes out from the lab. Janet is informed that Fury is calling her. Tony Stark climbs the mountain. He talks via video link with Jarvis. The butler says that Fury called Stark. Tony replies that he will call back. Suddenly Tony falls to his knees. The battery needs to be replaced in the reactor on his chest. Stark changes the battery and gets up. Thor is kneeling at the circle of stones. He throws runes and pours them with his blood. The god of thunder plunges into a vision. He sees the death of the Avengers. Betty Ross is studying Chitauri ships. She can't understand why the skin elements are crumbling in her hands. The Avengers arrive. Betty hugs Janet. Stark arrives in Iron Man armor. The Avengers head to the SHIELD headquarters. Betty communicates with Banner. She says that the aliens have been spotted on Earth again. Betty says that the vibranium from which the Chitauri ships are made is crumbling. Banner asks to provide him with a sample for study. Dr. Ross leaves. Fury gathers the Avengers for a briefing and tells them about Kleiser, a Nazi general who is actually a Chitauri alien. Fury says that Kleiser was spotted in the closed country of Wakanda. The captain wants to go there alone, but Fury believes that this is a job for the team. He appoints a Black Widow as the head of the squad. Kleiser communicates with his master, who says that nothing should stand between the Chitauri and the meteorite from vibranium. Kleiser promises that it will be so. The Avengers plane lands in the jungles of Wakanda. The Widow orders to disperse and conduct reconnaissance. Captain America makes his way through the jungle. He remembers how he first encountered Kleiser. Then the general killed Steve's squad. Cap took half the Nazis' head off with a shield, but Kleiser immediately healed and shot Steve with a pistol. The wounded captain managed to throw a bomb on the train in which Kleiser was traveling. The train drove into a tunnel and exploded, but Kleiser still survived. Steve throws a shield at T'Challa, who appeared nearby. The Panther demands that the Avengers leave the territory of Wakanda, but the Widow says they need answers and they will not leave. T'Challa agrees to take only Captain America to the palace. The rest should wait on the plane. T'Challa and Steve make their way to the palace. Roger sees the downed Chitauri ship. T'Challa explains that the ship was shot down in the 42nd year and that Wakanda has its secrets. The Avengers are attacked by the warriors of Wakanda. The heroes at first easily cope with the locals. At this time, T'Challa brings Steve to the Hall of Kings and tells that his grandfather was the first to contact Chitauri. Kleiser commanded the aliens. The general needed a meteorite hidden in the bowels of Wakanda. At that time, the Wakandans won. But stop trusting strangers. Nakinda enters the hall and reports that strangers have been spotted in the jungle. She sees the captain and runs away. T'Challa says that his warriors have found the captain's friends. The Avengers fight with the Wakandans. They fire at Pym, and the giant falls to the ground. The Wasp attacks the enemies and drives them away from her husband. The Iron Man is lured into a narrow gorge. Stark gets hit by a huge log. His suit is damaged. The battle is interrupted by the appearance of T'Challa. The Wasp says that Hank was poisoned. T'Challa promises to give an antidote. But the Avengers, we must leave Wakanda immediately. The Widow contacts Fury. The general orders the team to return. Thor talks to Odin, who shows him the Chitauri ship. Thor decides to help the Avengers in the fight against the aliens. Odin orders his son to return to Asgard, but Thor goes against his father's will. Betty Ross tells Fury about the core that she found among the wreckage of the Chitauri ship. The core is filled with a huge amount of energy, but this does not explain why the hull of the ship is crumbling. At this time, Banner is once again watching a recording of the Hulk's fight with aliens. He demands a meeting with Dr. Ross, but Oiler refuses and orders the camera to be filled again sedative gas. Captain America notices a Chitauri squad in the jungle and leaves the Avengers plane. Pym believes that it is not worth following the captain. This infuriates Janet. The elders deprive T'Challa of the status of king. An angry T'Challa goes to the wall of the palace and notices a Chitauri wandering nearby. The captain makes his way through the jungle and stumbles upon a panther beating an alien. The captain offers to take a prisoner to their ship to try to extract information. In the command center of the Fury Shield, they report that the Avengers plane has turned back to Wakanda. Thor appears here and informs that the threat is not in Wakanda, but in space. Fury orders to turn on orbital surveillance. Satellites detect a huge Chitauri ship near Earth. The captain and the Panther deliver the alien to the plane. The Widow says that by doing this they put the Avengers in danger. The Panther suddenly turns into Kleiser, and the alien comes to his senses. The villains attack the Avengers. The Wasp is wounded. Kleiser escapes, taking the captain's shield. He flies away on a shuttle and orders the destruction of the plane. The Chitauri ship shoots from Earth's orbit with energy with a beam. The plane begins to fall apart in the sky. Stark uses the energy of the suit to protect friends. Fury and Thor see the death of the plane. The God of Thunder remembers his vision with the dead Avengers. The plane explodes and falls into the jungle. T'Challa sees it. Thor transfers the Avengers from the plane to the command center of the shield. The wounded are being treated. The ship is on the orbit, releases some kind of field. It will tear up the entire planet after 7 minutes. Jarvis goes down to Stark's workshop, where all the Iron Man suits are stored. Tony says that he needs a War Machine suit for a new battle. Betty Ross talks to Banner. He says that the Hulk managed to break through the skin of the alien ships due to gamma radiation. Pym is sitting by Jen's bed. She is unconscious. Steve enters, but Hank does not need the captain's apologies. He asks him to leave. The Chitauri ship hovers over the capital of Wakanda. Aliens begin to drill the earth. Wakanda enters the battle. Tower cannons shoot at alien ships. Chitauri land in different cities around the world. Fires and panic everywhere. T'Challa contacts Fury and asks for the help of the Shield. He tells about a huge meteorite from vibranium, which Kleiser is hunting for. Thor takes the Avengers to Wakanda. They are met by T'Challa. Kleiser orders the heroes to be killed. The battle begins. Thor destroys alien ships with lightning. Pym breaks one of the giant robots, but he falls to the ground. Stark saves him. Betty Ross tests a gamma gun. The armor of the alien ships crumbles into dust from a shot from it. The Wasp comes to. She collides with Betty in the corridor and they go on together. The Chitauri find a locked Banner. They force Oiler to kill Bruce. The Banner's chamber is filled with gas. The Wasp and Betty break in and kill the aliens. Bruce dies in front of his beloved. The battle continues in Wakanda. Nick Fury is shell-shocked and the Widow takes command. Kleiser fights with the Captain and the Panther. The warriors of Wakanda also join the battle. Their arrows and spears perfectly pierce the armor of the aliens. Betty and the Wasp arrive in Wakanda. The gamma gun is given to Stark. He needs to infiltrate the main alien ship. Pym goes with Tony. Thor covers his friends, distracting attention to himself. With the help of a gamma cannon, Stark and Pym pierce the armor of the ship and find themselves inside. They are attacked by Chitauri. Stark shoots them from all guns. Kleiser almost kills the Panther and Cap, but then T'Challa takes on the form of a panther and rushes at the enemy. He tears Kleiser apart, but the general recovers and regains his true form. T'Challa says that it is necessary to lure him into the vibranium mine. In New York, Banner transforms into the Hulk and rushes at Chitauri. Panther and the Captain dump Kleiser into the mine and fill him with vibranium. Stark and Pym find the heart of the ship. Hank stays to cover Tony and fights the aliens. Stark irradiates the core of the ship with gamma rays, but then the cannon fails. Tony throws it aside. The core explodes. Stark and Pym jump out of the ship. Hank loses consciousness, but Tony saves him. Pym dies in Janet's arms. The alien field disappears. The alien ship falls on the city. Stark flies to him to save people. He manages to take the ship aside, but Tony spends all his energy and falls unconscious next to the Avengers. Thor uses lightning to charge Tony's suit and saves him. The Avengers return to New York. The Hulk sees Betty and goes off into the distance. The Avengers gather on the veranda. They grieve for the dead comrade. Steve kisses Natasha, and Fury offers Thor a beer with him.